In life, sometimes things don't happen the way our mind expects them to. We have our minds set on how things should be. What should be people around us, how they should act, how their career should develop, and so on. As a result, expectations and reality do not coincide, and people get disappointed hopes, a broken heart, and not achieved goals. The person is confronted with difficulties, with a headache of worrying and thinking about how to be now. He becomes obsessed with his problem. There is a way out of this situation. Rely on the streams within the space of options. The reasoning is simple. In the streams is precisely what the mind seeks, expediency. These flows follow the path of least resistance. The mind seeks to reason sensibly and logically, based on cause and effect relations. But the imperfection of reason does not allow it to orient itself unmistakably in the surrounding world and find the only right decisions. Nature is inherently perfect. Therefore, there is more expediency and logic in the streams than in the wisest reasoning. The mind will make mistakes, but much less if it will moderate its zeal and, if possible, allow problems to resolve themselves without its active intervention. This is called letting go of the situation. In other words, you need to loosen your grip, reduce your control, let go of the flow, and give more freedom to the world around you. More often than not, it is we who create the obstacles in our lives by over-potentially stressing. If you lower your importance, the obstacles will get away on their own. If the obstacle does not yield, we should not fight it, but simply bypass it. The trouble with the mind is that it tends to perceive events that do not fit into its scripts as obstacles. The mind usually plans and calculates everything beforehand. And if the unexpected happens, it begins to actively fight it in order to adjust events to its own scenario. As a result, the situation is further aggravated. Of course, the mind is not able to plan events perfectly, and this is where we need to give more freedom to the current. The current is not interested in breaking your destiny. Again, it's inexpedient. It's the mind that breaks your destiny by its irrational actions. And we by our own reactions to the situation bring us down to negative lifelines. Here we must remember the principle of coordinating our intentions. Every event on the lifeline has two branches to the favorable and unfavorable sides. Every time you encounter an event, you make a choice about how to relate to it. If you view an event as positive, then you are on the favorable side of the lifeline. However, your tendency toward negativism causes you to express dissatisfaction and choose the unfavorable branch. Imagine how much more joyful life would become if the mind lowered its importance and recognized the right to existence of deviations in the script. Engage your mind and watch for at least one day as the mind tries to grab the world by the throat and subjugate everything to its beliefs. Somebody makes their point, and you argue. Somebody is doing things your way, and you are correcting them. You are offered a solution, and you argue back. You expect one thing and you get another and you complain. Someone gets in your way and you get angry. Something goes against your script and you lash out to turn the tide in your favor. Now try to loosen your grip on it and let it flow more freely. This doesn't mean you have to agree with everyone and accept everything. Try to observe rather than control. Be slow to push back, to object, to argue your case, to intervene, to manipulate, to criticize. Give the situation a chance to work itself out without your opposition. Giving up control will give you even more control than you had before. When you look back, you will see that your control was going against the tide. The other suggestions were not without merit, the argument was not worth it at all. What you saw as obstacles were not obstacles at all. Problems were solved safely without your knowledge. What you did not receive according to your plan was not such a bad thing. It is possible that many people, even if they have now received this knowledge, are still left with a question. It's easy to say, but not so easy to do. So here are some other tips you can apply if something is bothering you right now and you are still having a hard time letting it go. Deal with it. Often we are not ready to admit that the scenario that the mind has come up with is a losing one. We pull on the suitcase without a handle and keep pretending that everything is okay instead of sending it to the landfill. Or take a bad movie as an example. At the movies, we realize we went to see a bad movie, but we don't go because we've already spent the money for the ticket. In the end, we don't just waste our money, we waste our time and spoil our mood because of a bad movie. Maybe we should have quit and gone. Sometimes it is important not only to let the situation go, but also to understand its futility. If something isn't going well, or is moving very slowly, it just may not be your way. Take your mind off the situation and move on. Try something new in your life that you've wanted for a long time, but have never tried. How do you let go of the situation and not think and worry? How do you distract yourself to find new love, new job, new business, new friends, new hobbies, new goals and new dreams? Move on, leaving the past failures behind. Don't hold on to your fears of resentment and failure, start your life over again. How many times have you done this before? Almost all of us have left jobs, relationships and places of residence at some point. Sometimes it's scary in its uncertainty, but it's very exciting. You are not the first, nor will you be the last. Be brave. Practice mindfulness. If you feel like your thoughts are becoming negative, or making you cling to something, try asking yourself, what am I feeling? Analyze your thoughts, feelings, and sensations in your body in a minute. Notice how you are breathing, concentrate on the sensations, feel the air going into and out of your lungs. Continue to breathe. Allow yourself to feel what you want to feel, while focusing on your breath. Breathe through each emotion. If you feel like your thoughts are taking you away, focus back on your breath. Use positive thought forms. They allow you to shift your focus away from your emotions in time to calm your mind. You can write your favorite thought forms down or memorize them. And when you feel yourself going back in your mind to the past or holding on to something, repeat the thought form. Remember the cardinal rule of transurfing: the world is like a mirror reflecting back to you the way you feel about it. When you're not happy with the world, it turns away from you. When you fight the world, it fights you. When you stop your fight, the world comes to you.